here on the first step of the Bushnell Grand Slams pursuit. To my right is the infamous Michael Waddell. To my left is Brad Schorr with Realtree. We are here at camp in Immokalee, Florida, and we went and shot some Osceolas today. Extremely fun, and just there are birds everywhere. I don't think I've ever seen this many birds in one concentrated area. It's just been so much fun. Brad guided me. Michael went and took a couple other guys on a different area, not too far from us, because we heard their gunshots when they fired this morning. So that was a lot of fun. So Brad was my partner in crime. Probably wasn't for you, Brad. I wouldn't have shot my turkey because I probably wouldn't have saw him right away and been ready. So, and then you had me pivot. So walk us through the situation and because you saw a little bit more action than I did from where you were sitting. So walk through some of that.
Yeah, from my angle, I was actually looking back towards over your left shoulder, so I was getting a bigger field of view. You were sitting there looking at basically the decoys, and the birds around here, as you mentioned, can come from really anywhere. This place can spoil you, and it's unlike any other place that I've ever hunted. But in this particular predicament, we had hunted there yesterday morning and actually saw a lot of birds and where they were coming from, where they were roosting. And this one was very vocal, but there was probably 12 different birds within 200 yards of it this morning, and I wasn't real sure which way they were going to be coming from, but this one just kept coming. He got a little quiet, he got hung up down there, and then all of a sudden he came in, and I sat there and watched him, and I was a little bit too far away from you to say, you know, Jared, over your left shoulder, so I just didn't say anything at all. And I think James actually heard me and maybe notified you then, and that way you could at least pick it up. But the bird wanted to come in, and you know, it cupped up, stood there, strutted for a little while. We probably had a little bit more decoys out than we needed at the time, and I think that maybe threw him off a little bit. But when he came in, we were lucky to have that big brush pile that they pushed up, because he came in, he didn't spook, he just kind of came out of strut and walked around that brush pile, and that's when I said turn, you know, and shoot him on the other side. And once he walked out the other side, I think he was 47 yards with the rangefinder, and the TSS just, I mean, made it look like he was 10 yards. So it was any turkey hunt that you come away with a harvest and are able to get that kill is a good one.
Oh yeah.
And I was, you know, because you just never know. We've been on places like this that have just got a ton of turkeys, and sometimes it's not always a given. It's pretty tough sometimes, just, you know, and they've been hunted every day and whatnot. But this place is phenomenal. Very happy you got yours and made a heck of a shot.
Thank you.
And so with the Rattay and the Federal TSS, but really good morning.
So the interesting point about the Federal TSS, and I looked at the shells a little bit ago, it's a 7 and 9 shot. So I had a combination of that 7 and 9 shot. And when I was talking to the Federal guys the other day, that 9 shot, because of the tungsten weight of it, it acts like a 5 shot, and the 7 shot acts like a 3 shot. So I think that helped me. That 7 shot really reached out there, and when it impacted him, it just dropped him. So that was a phenomenal experience just to see. And when you said shoot, I didn't think he was 47 yards. I thought he was more like 30 yards. My perspective was just off at that point. So
yeah, well, I mean, at that point in time, I knew what you were shooting, but I also knew you had a 20 gauge, and that's just a testament to that particular shot. But I mean, you dropped him like a big bag of ice. I mean, he just fell straight down, dead as a hammer. But I didn't know where he was going. There was a hen behind us, and I didn't think that he was going to come back into that set. So I figured, you know, might as well go ahead and give it a try, and it worked out in our favor.
And when I shifted around, that's when I saw the hen, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is my chance, because otherwise he's going to go off with that hen, and it's over. So, and you mentioned a little bit ago about the decoy set, and I agree with you. I think we had too many decoys. So we had 3 hens, a Jake and a strutting tom, and then another hen. The Jake fell over, so that was a situation. The gobbler, it was full strut, just, I mean, and it's a good size gobbler. So talk to us a little bit about your experience with decoys, and, you know, is less more, walk through some of that with us, and help the viewer kind of understand what they should do.
I think less is more in turkey. I mean, the biggest thing with turkeys, a lot of people think they're decoy shy. They're not smart enough to know that it's a decoy. You know, some real lifelike decoys that appear unbelievable to us, and they look just like a hen or a gobbler. but a turkey ain't smart enough to say, well, there's a terrible looking decoy. So anything that resembles a turkey, especially the coloration, on like a gobbler head, they know it. But what makes them decoy shy is not the appearance of a decoy, it's the social structure they're walking into. So yeah, you can't have too much because it becomes overwhelming to us. No different than us. You know, if there's one person, you got to keep in mind it's their yard. If you got one person in your yard, especially if it's let's just say it's a, for lack of better words, a playing situation, there's a cocky young man out there all flexed up, you know, and he's talking trash to your wife or your girlfriend, and he's in your backyard. Without hesitation, that one particular situation, we think things out. We're like, I'm going out there and settle business. With caution in the wind, you walk right out the door and walk right to him.
Right.
If it becomes 2 or 3,
then
you still are mad, you still want to settle it, but you think about it and you stand back and you might shout and flex up, but you still being a little older thinking, well, these 3 of them could whoop me up pretty good. And so depending on this turkey's attitude, if he's very dominant, he might walk in there with a field full of turkeys. But socially, turkeys, people underestimate the language and knowing each other and the dominance and from the hen pecking order to the gobbler pecking order. So yeah, I only take 1 decoy, and typically, sometimes 2. It's always a turkey. I never even take a hen decoy. I don't, because hens are very apt to be socially inawkward to any other hen. They're more apt to come to another gobbler a lot of times, especially if they're ready to breed. And so just my opinion, the gobbler is the only decoy that really, really makes a big difference. That's just my opinion. Somebody's watching like, oh, that's BS, but you know, that's just my personal opinion. And I keep it to 1, and a lot of times actually Culpepper has good luck, you know, especially when you're hunting with kids or even trying to get good footage. I'll do a lot of times, I'll you know, I call it puppet, you know, I will show them a decoy, which is unlike anything an old timer taught you. Put your spread out like a duck decoy, but I a lot of times put no decoys out. Sometimes 99% of the time, no decoys with my decoy by my side. So I yelp a turkey, I try to break them on and try to get them to come in, and when they get to coming in, if they start hanging up as they go behind a tree or something, I'll get it and I'll show them a decoy.
Okay.
And so it's a whole different technique, and so yeah, I don't like a field full of decoys. My instinctive, because they know that ain't turkeys they know, and it can become overwhelming, and they're like, wow, I'm walking into a party, but it is their backyard. So
yeah, and that explains that hen that walked through. She was probably a younger hen and subservient to the rest of the flock she's with, and so she just walked through the decoys and went on. She
didn't pay any attention.
She didn't pay any attention. She didn't talk or anything, and so I was a little surprised by her lack of talking as she came through. But I was thinking back, I'm like, well, she's not dominant. She's just another one of the flock, and she's just going to walk through. So that explains a lot. So
they got different personalities for sure.
Yeah.
All of them, just like us. You know, some talk a lot, some are very shy, some are cunning, some of us are very evaluate the situation and very cautious as we approach a situation. You know, some people reckless abandon, run right in and overzealous, and so turkeys and wildlife are the same way. You know, the fundamental principles are the same, and they live in a vicious world, way more vicious than people think. Everybody thinks that it's because of turkey hunting pressure that gets turkeys nervous. They think it's because of predation. They're aware of that, and I think they're less worried about the pressure as the social structure, because they know who's boss, and they have been beat up. They've had spurs thrown at them. They've won fights or either lost fights. Yep. So they either come back for more or they've had enough. So a lot of times a turkey that is very shy around the call or comes in and looks, and you're thinking that, man, he's seeing me, or this turkey didn't like the decoy. It's not that he didn't like the decoy. He is just socially inapt of taking on that situation based on his confidence level. So a very old, dominant turkey who does a lot of breeding, who has done a lot of butt whooping, is the easiest turkey to kill. That turkey, he sees another Jake and he hears a hen, especially if he's by himself, done.
Right.
It's done. You can about do jumping jacks, and because he's over. He's over the situation. He's coming to make some adjustments. A turkey that just got whooped the night before, but wakes up still a little frisky and knows it's breeding season and like, man, I sure would love to, but Lord, I don't want to get whooped again. He's gonna gobble, he's gonna come in looking, and he's gonna like, God, I just want to come in there. But we think that he's thinking, God, he don't like my calling, or or he's nervous of the decoy. He's nervous
Right.
of other turkey, period. So
Right.
you got that going against you. People don't realize that. So when you put decoys, what he's nervous of seeing, he sees, but when he don't see it, he's nervous too, because he's like, wait a minute, there's supposed to be turkeys here, there's supposed to be a party. So he's nervous of the party, he's nervous of not the party. And so you got that turkey that's like, no, I'm good. And that's why sometimes multiple gobblers will come in quicker to decoys, because they have confidence in their numbers.
So Brad, when you've experienced those situations, what calls do you use to try to bring in a turkey that's a little bit more cautious and reluctant?
Well, when you first start off in the morning and you hear him on the limb, and he responds back to you, you heard him this morning.
Yep.
Well, you heard about 12 of them this morning do that. He knew exactly where we were right then.
Right.
Once he responded, he knew exactly. So I knew that he was going to work his way that way. I just didn't know if there was another one that's going to come around the other side,
Right.
and intervene based off, or get there first from that perspective. But you know, kind of like calls, less is more a lot of times. You know, because you don't hear a hen. This morning you didn't hear a lot of cackling hens.
Not very many.
You
no.
did when they were on the limb, and then when they got down, you didn't hear much
they
at
were
all.
quiet.
So I try to just go off that pattern and you know, make sure that I don't call too much. But as long as I can get that response back from him, that validates that I can sit there a little bit longer and just wait him out, because he's either working his way towards me. When he got quiet, I knew he was over there strutting.
Right.
You know, because he was very, very vocal, just hammering, and then all of a sudden it went about a 10-minute stretch where I thought, okay, he's either gone the other way because there was so much gobbling going on, or he's just sitting in that little cove strutting back and forth, not gobbling, and then all of a sudden, next thing I know, he gobbled, and I saw him pop up right there. So it worked in our favor, but I would imagine, you know, Michael can get a little bit more aggressive sometimes based off of, you know, those interactions with those turkeys, but my approach is just, I don't want to, I can do more to mess it up by continuing the call than I can just sit there. So
So Michael, walk us through your guys' experience. You took out Carlos, our head of marketing, and your buddy Eric from the Hooray Ranch. So walk us through what happened this morning with you guys.
We just, I mean, it was crazy. There was a lot of turkeys gobbling this morning, and we kind of went to some that we thought was pretty close, but they fell out the backside of the cypress and really kind of went the other way before we really got set up to start working them. But we was in a good area, and yesterday we'd seen a lot of turkeys in there, you know, 9, 10 o'clock. And so we just sat tight, and it felt like we sat forever, but it wasn't 20, 30 minutes. There's a lot of gobbling. Now, and being that I had everything far away, I was hammered down pretty good. It was cutting and yelping and, you know, trying to throw a party, you know, over there, and turkeys were gobbling. And finally, turkeys were gobbling at the call. You could tell that the turkeys were gobbling at my call, but they were way off. I mean, literally a half a mile off. And finally, like literally, you could tell some turkeys were getting closer. I even told Cohen, who was videoing, I said, man, them turkeys are getting a little closer. But we was looking across this huge cattle pasture, and finally, literally, like, I yelp one gobble, and I get to looking with my binoculars, and well, there's a turkey head, and here's 3 or 4 more, and then all of a sudden 2 of them just break and literally come all the way across the pasture right to Carlos's gun barrel, and he got his first turkey, and he hammered down big old turkey. And then Eric, who had shot one the day before, got his gun up and doubled up on that other. And so it was a good morning, man. And then right when we shot, boom, boom. Then we sitting there like, man, we got one. And boom, we heard y'all shoot. And so it was a good morning.
We heard y'all shoot.
We was hooping and hollering.
I think we were about a half mile apart. So the turkeys were probably a half mile to the south of us, and then a little bit to the east from you, and then we were a half mile away. So it was kind of cool. And I think you even said afterwards, you're like, I think I heard them hooping and hollering over there.
I did.
And then moments later, I shot, and so that was so cool that it was like bam, bam, and then a few boom.
We literally killed turkeys within 3 to 4 minutes of each other.
That bird was actually in there strutting to your left before we went around that pile when they shot.
Right.
You know, because he came out of strut when they shot.
Yep.
And then he kind of moved around that brush pile. So it was close. But I mean, I didn't know where you guys were. But that's the thing about this place here is it's kind of like the paradise of turkey hunting, because D told us that there was one coming from our right, which was to my back, and it was from your right, that we never even saw. He was coming from y'all over there in that area. We never even knew that bird was there. So that's the whole thing. You almost got to always be on pins and needles, but you never know exactly what's coming.
Well, it can only, you know, not to jinx the tour, but it can only get a little tougher from here. I mean, I've hunted down here for this place is pretty much insanity. I think it's not only the best Osceola place, but it could be one of the best places to hunt turkey, the species of turkey, period. But and to have it be Osceolas, which is kind of the prize jewel of the, and the hardest to get a true Osceola, you know, down in South Florida, the only state and area that has that species, and to have this quality of hunting, man, it's awesome. And so, you know, you're about to go chase easterns and do some other stuff, and man, they can be really temperamental and really brutal in everything that we might say. And any of the listeners or viewers can realize that you just go based on instinct, but your best calculated move can just, you know, go awry and not have any results. And then, you know, but you can find an easy one too. So that's what makes turkeys fun, is you can learn a lot about them, you can know a lot about the characteristics, but each turkey individually is different, and what trips their trigger are based on where they're at in that pecking order is how you got to approach it. And you got to make that all on the fly.
Right.
Where here you can visually see turkeys. Sometimes, you know, you get in those deep, dark swamps of Georgia and Alabama, you can't see turkeys. You can only hear them when they gobble, so you can't read their body language. You know, when you're talking to somebody in a meeting, you can watch somebody and you can know if you're aggravating them potentially.
Right.
And, you know, and a good poker player, obviously you don't know what hand he's holding, but most of the time, you know, if your wife comes in and she starts talking to you, you know where to tread. You know how and what to say and
what mood she's in.
What mood she's in. And so that is an experienced turkey hunter, is where you get really, really good at filling tags, because when you visually can hear and you understand exactly the intensity of how they're responding, and when you can see them, now you know their mood, so it's complete take advantage of that situation. So as Brad was talking about calling, that's when you know where to freaking set the hook and reel them in, or you might need to back off, or you know, let them worry gobble, or get worried that they don't know, or maybe they know that the party has left and they're curious and can kind of walk into where the ashes are, you know, simmering down, and I just want to see what I missed out on, because I know I got whooped. There's so many little small elements, but it's inevitably turkey hunting is the most underrated social experience to manipulating wildlife that there is out there, and it's complex and it's very complicated. You can keep it simple, but sometimes on an easy hunt or even a difficult hunt, you might find success, or those ones you didn't get one. There was a complicated social structure going down that you never realized. And so it's when you become a turkey man, you can read it quick, and you can become a chameleon to them. The tone, the different calls they want, the rasp, the aggression, the high pitch, and so you become a master chameleon of becoming whatever they want you to be. Right. So inevitably you're a con artist when you're turkey hunting. You're conning them every time.
Right.
Every time, either visually or with the sound and sexual and dominance, or less dominant.
All right, the next stop on the Bushnell Turkey Grand Slam pursuit is Mississippi. We won't reveal who the coach is. You have to stay tuned to see who that is. But we talked a little earlier about Mississippi and the terrain and some of the things. And Brad, I know you've had some experience down there as well. So guys, talk to me kind of about what I should expect, and you know, just what are some tips that I need to think about between now and Thursday when we go out.
I mean, bring your A game in Mississippi. Mississippi, I say Alabama, Mississippi, and Georgia. I mean, even Louisiana, really all those southern states. You know, Tennessee has a lot of turkeys, so it can be tough, but it's typically really good. But I would say, you know, those southern turkeys, you can get in good spots, and you might even hear a decent amount depending on where you go. I'm not sure exactly where you're going, but definitely you don't get a lot of chances to make mistakes. Everything has to be typically dialed in pretty good. You can be pretty amateur and still find success. You know, what's the old saying? Old lucky squirrel finds a nut. But I would say those who successfully kill turkeys in the South can kill turkeys anywhere. It's just a different. It's hard to tell you one thing that defines that. It's just the terrain, the bird density, the situation. Sometimes it can be the hunting pressure. It can be the predation down there, but they just have a mystique about them, and they just seem to have an element of understanding what's right and what's wrong. It's hard to explain it, but I in my experience, which turkey's been my #1 passion, I would say the southern eastern can be the most difficult, but it's my favorite turkey to hunt. I love Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia. I love it. It's the biggest challenge.
Right.
Turkeys have nicknames down there. Like, oh, that's old Smoky Ghost down there at the fence post. Oh, that's a red gate turkey. That's a red gate turkey. I heard. I had a guy in Alabama. He was a big in nicknaming turkeys. And a turkey guy one morning said, "That's old Barack." And I said, "Brock?" He said, "Yeah, he talks a lot, don't do much." Now, that ain't politics or not, that's what he said. And I just laughed. And sure enough, that turkey did exactly that. He gobbled and gone. Oh, Brock left out of there. So we ended up, though, the next couple of days, we ended up figuring out a way to kill that turkey. And it becomes a satisfaction. Is there a guarantee that that's the turkey that was nicknamed roosting in the same spot? Maybe not, maybe so, but there becomes this pursuit that's really mystique, that the places that have lots of turkeys, there's no way you have a turkey that you can nickname. Right. But in Georgia, or Mississippi, there'll be a turkey or two that seem to gobble in these areas, and you become this one-on-one. And when you screw it up, or you educate him, or you don't get him, it's over.
Yeah.
It's over. It ain't like a pheasant hunt where you say, well, let's go, hey, dude, let's go flush up some more.
Let's go to the next field.
No, go eat. You're done. That's it. You blew your chance.
Yeah.
And we're unlike here, you can be aggressive, you can mess up some, and you go find another 2 or 3 gobblers around the corner. So in y'all's pursuit of doing what you do, you're going to have every little discipline, and that's what makes the challenge of a slam tough, because if you can get to this stage of Mississippi and get you one, I would say you're well on your way to having it done. I would say the Rio and the Merriam, you're going to be cruising. I feel that way. But then again, you get out there, you can get your butt kicked. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So what's your experience been in Mississippi?
Well, the Eastern is going to be the toughest one, I think, to get, and I think we all would agree with that, because they're so finicky. Nothing's ever the same with those.
Right.
Down here, you get up in the morning, you're going to hear birds gobble. Sometimes based off the morning, or the pressure, or the climate or whatnot, they may not gobble at all, except on the limb. When they hit the ground, you don't hear anything else, and that's the most frustrating thing, because it's hard to hunt something you don't know where it's at. And you can't pinpoint, but that's been the majority of my experience is the Eastern, and to Michael's point, it is the hardest one because of those reasons. But I killed my first Osceola down here on this trip the day before you did. So it's the first time I've ever hunted in Florida. But hunting Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, those eastern birds right there, they're on fire one day and they're not the next. So they continue to change. So I would tell you just to be real patient. Yep. They've got a lot of birds there, but the terrain's going to be a lot different than this right here. They may be sitting there and gobbling, but yet maybe down in a holler, or maybe up on a hill or over a hill or something like that, depending on where you're going to be in Mississippi. And you may not just be able to hear them quite like you're accustomed to. Once you hear them, it gets you fired up, and it gives you a lot of options to continue moving forward with that hunt. So patience is.
I would, if you got you call it a coach. If you got a veteran coach, turkey hunting in the South is not what I call turkey hunting. It's more like a fisherman angling. It's more angling. So it's aggression. So the old school turkey hunter, the thought of a few soft yelps and 3 to 4 yelps, and then every 10, 20 minutes, let's call and set, and eventually you can make that turkey come to you based on his desire to breed that hen. And sitting in that one spot, these turkeys are temperamental, so getting in areas and getting these angles right, it's almost like these fish are on a structure, but you got to get that angle right and the right depth and the right color. That to me is what sums up turkey hunting in the South. That coach, I'd hope if he's really experienced and he can move through the woods and you got turkeys working, you're probably going to get an opportunity, I feel like.
Very cool, very cool. The one thing I wanted to mention, when we were sitting there, we had a hen come through our set. The deer could definitely sense something was around. She could smell something, but she couldn't see us. And so we were all in Realtree, kind of talked to us about the importance of camouflage, especially in turkey hunting, because I know you work for Realtree. It's a big, it's your passion, your career. And kind of explain that, because this morning hunting with you, I started thinking about it a little bit more, and I'm like, man, the deer's 20 yards away and she doesn't see me. And I actually even moved because I had some gnats on my face, and she kind of was like, saw something move, but I don't know. So talk about some of the stuff that you guys are doing at Realtree and how this pertains to turkey hunting.
Well, the concealment side of it, of the hunting, is everything to Realtree when we start talking about those concepts. Movement is the number one thing that gets you picked off.
That's right.
But the concealment side is something that we try very hard to make sure that we mimic whatever our environment is. And down here, I think I had on timber, you've had on edge, right. And both of them worked great. You have enough green down here that fits well. I was on a pine tree, and the timber pattern just really blends in with the darker colors. So, but anything when it comes to the movement side of things, that's what they're going to pick up first, and so I've seen people out there with sunglasses, hunting and blue lens and whatnot, and kill a bird.
Yeah,
which is crazy. But at the end of the day, they don't always know exactly what's right. in their environment. But it's almost like they do know. A deer, when you're deer hunting and you come in there and you got to stand, you put it up in that tree right there. They walk in there and you're not moving at all, and all of a sudden they just go boom, and they pick you out. Well, it's because if I walked in your living room that you walk in every day, and I sit there and took that recliner and moved it over here and moved that sofa right over here, even though it's not obstructing your walk through, you're going to know something's different.
Yeah,
something's wrong.
Different.
So you try to make sure that you blend in with their environment as best you possibly can. That's from the concealment camouflage side of things, but also just not disturbing what their normal morning flow is from a movement standpoint, to where you don't get detected. Because turkey hunting and bow hunting are, very similar in terms of you kind of want to get them as close as you possibly can,
right?
And that the closer they get, the more susceptible you are to being picked off on something. So,
right. And I know you've been with Realtree and around Realtree for forever. How far has the technology of concealment come since you first started with Realtree and now? And what are you seeing? And has it changed a lot, or what's?
I think it's gotten incredibly even better as far as the patterns and I guess with technology and graphic design and the realistic and the 3D part of it. And what I found unique is concealment is neat because there's only two things you do when you're hunting. You're either trying to be invisible or you're trying to be seen. And so turkey hunting, the way I hunt, which is a completely different aggressive style, I would say, half of the time I'm hunting, I'm wanting to be seen, not me, but my decoys. So I'm hunting very aggressive, and there's times that I move purposely. Some old-time turkey hunters just getting pissed at me right now for saying this, but I sometimes move purposely to create movement that can entice a visual, and then I can manipulate him with a visual that he wants to see. So there's all kind of little technique out there. However, then it gets to the point where you're invisible. Or as I'm being seen, you need to be completely invisible. Mm-hmm. And so you're sitting there motionless, but I'm doing the manipulating. So what I think is unique about elk, turkey, duck, there's always that time to become invisible, and there's a time that things need to be seen. Because in the end, we try to give these animals this human-like IQ, and it's like they're Elon Musk, but they're not that. Their IQ ain't that high. They just got a good instinct, and they're very familiar with their surroundings. They don't come in a house at night. They stay out here. They live out here. They got different things at them, so they after them. From down here in Florida, black panthers to out west to mountain lion to bear to whatever it might be, and so they're very wary. But at the end of it, they're if I can say this on this series, they're either horny or hungry, and either one of them will get them in trouble. And they will throw caution to the wind on both when it gets extreme. And so when you can manipulate that and you understand that, and you can use your camouflage to stay hidden when you need to, or you know how to use your visuals to entice, you can become deadly. And
right.
It almost feels like a Navy SEAL operation. It's just a lot of fun.
So one last parting suggestion, recommendation, piece of coaching tip for me and those that are watching. If they're pursuing their Grand Slam, or if they're hunting turkey in their backyard, what's that one piece of information or suggestion that you'd have for any turkey hunter, beginner or expert?
I think become confident. Even if you're beginning, figure out the things and master certain elements of the hunt, whether it's a box call or a pot call, or master, through these digital apps, the lay of the land. Master something, and don't go in at haphazard, and don't go into it insecure, because anything in life, if you try to do it insecure, whether it's a job interview or trying to, you know, hit on that pretty little girl that might become your wife, if you do it with insecurity, it's just going to come across as insecure, and you're going to seem shy. If you pick up a call and you're like, man, I'm scared, I don't know, I'm a rookie, it just, even if you ain't that good, just freaking get after it. And make your moves with confidence and gain confidence in what you know you can define and learn about, and that is when you become successful. You can't gingerfoot into something. You got to learn to have aggression, and you got to learn when you didn't get aggressive enough to learn, and when you was too aggressive, of where you made mistakes. But I would say find confidence in what you are good at, and that's in an ability that you have as a person, in this case a hunter, and be on that. And realize this too, I learned this a long time ago when I got in the industry. You got rule of thumbs, you got personalities, you got books that tell you how to do things, but everything gets reinvented so much every year. So I take pride in trying to develop new techniques to manipulate. And so sometimes with that, people get into the ethics like, well, that ain't turkey hunting. This is the way I do it. Well, I don't care how somebody does it. I'm just honestly trying. I'm greedy. I'm a game hog, and I like to kill something when I leave. So I'm not doing it trying to be, hey, let me tell you what I learned. It's because I want to kill a turkey. I'm like, you know, my wife lets me hunt a lot because that's what's my living, but I'm just like anybody else, man. Hey, dance recital, I got a t-ball game coming up. If you can, be home at 9:30. So if I got from daylight to 9:30, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to kill a turkey within the state, you know, regulations. So with that, when you're learning, you and anybody who's learning something new, if you take a different approach, you're going to learn something that possibly you can pass on to a veteran, because no offense to the veterans, but if you was turkey hunting 50 years ago, the turkeys were first populated, there was no pressure, there was less predation, their turkeys were easier to kill. But you wander off into freaking Georgia right now, everybody turkey hunts. Every turkey is judging the great American redneck yelp off. You got to know your game, and you better have some new technique. So I would say confidence, and learn how to reinvent the wheel, and try to take away, and like, what did I do wrong? What you think I could have done different? And not just trusting on somebody else, what they say, trust on what you see in the woods and what you feel. And there's a lot of smart people out there, and if once you kind of get that wood-wise part of it going, you'll realize that you're trying to trick something that can see, 10 times better than you, that's got the brain the size of your thumb nearly, and is really just wanting to breed every hen to eat a bunch of grasshoppers.
You're right, because
dumb it down and trick him.
Every time
he ain't that smart.
Every time we go out to the woods, we're teaching those gobblers about what's going on. So those gobblers are reinventing themselves and learning from generation to generation.
Actually, in one way, but no, I don't think they're learning as much as we think.
Oh, okay.
I think every hunter is thinking that, man, these turkeys got a lot of pressure. They don't know the difference in a coyote or a person. Okay. Either one of them hurt them and kill them. So I think we give them too much credit. And so I'm not disrespectful, but it's not Elon Musk. Elon Musk could be up in the spaceship looking at us like, look at this idiot. You know, these turkeys are down here trying to eat a grasshopper and breed every hen.
That's a good point.
Don't give them too much credit, and don't overthink it. It's just a turkey. Right. He's horny, he's hungry. End of story. Trick him. Kill him.
There you go. Yeah. Recipe for success.
Exactly.
What you hunted with me this morning, and thank you again for everything. That was a great experience.
Oh, I enjoyed it.
One last parting thought on suggestions for myself as well as the viewers out there. What would you give us as a parting thought? Or
well, I agree with a lot with what Michael said. I'd get you some bone collector calls. You see what I did there?
We love you too, Will Primos.
I would get you some bone collector calls. No, in all seriousness, the experience aspect of things, I would say go. You know, for anybody out there that's on the fence, go, because
right.
you never know, and don't get frustrated because you learn off of experience. I mean, I remember when we were going dove hunting, you know, with your dad when you were little, you know, he wouldn't give you a shotgun, he'd give you a BB gun, but you wanted to get that shotgun at one point in time, and when you finally got it, you would go out there and, you know, you'd shoot 4 or 5 boxes of shells and kill 8 birds. You know, you thought you were doing something, and everybody was sitting there going, "My gosh, you're an expensive guest." You know, that was your dad that was telling you that. But as time goes on, the more you do something, the better you get at it.
That's right.
And I think that you'll learn from those experiences based off of what fits your, you know, skill set best, and what you feel like. You know, when you get up in the morning and you go turkey hunting, you know that you want to go locate that bird, and that's why we go and roost it. But the main thing is you got to know where he's at and where he wants to go, and you want to get yourself somewhere in the middle of there.
That's
and things will always change, and you got to be able to move on the fly as best you can. But every hunt's different, every bird's different, every caller's different, every hunter's got a different tactic to what they do. But find what yours is and get comfortable with it and go out there and just continue to go, because the more you go, the better chance you got to kill something.
Yeah, and like Brad said, when you find what you like about turkey hunting, like me, I don't like hunting in blinds. It's an unbelievably successful way to kill a turkey, especially where, you know, population might not be crazy, but you know you've learned their habits. But for me, I'm just not big. I like to be in the open air. I like to move from that tree to that tree. I like to run and gun. I like to get up and maybe cut and yelp, and walk another 20 yards to get a little closer. And so, but that's me. That's not a knock against blind hunting, but that's what I like. Where I got some people, how I'm talking about holding a decoy, and some people call it reaping a turkey. I call it, you know, giving them a puppet show. Some people are like, I won't kill a turkey that way because I don't like that style of hunting. Then don't do it. So when you find those things you want, now when you tone in to saying this is how I got to kill one, you're going to eliminate a lot of opportunity for success.
Yep, that's a good point.
But you will. And people think, well, now I'm going to kill them this way. I don't kill them. Well, there's a lot you ain't going to kill. There's some you will. I don't really have a morality in how I kill it. I just have to go by the legal handbook. So for me, I'll yelp them in, I'll crawl around a hedgerow. You know, if I need to get in the ditch and ghillie suit and crawl through the sage and pop up and you know, give it to them. I just love the chase. And yeah, in the perfect situation, yeah, I like to set up, turkey roosting, he's gobbling, and give him a few tree yips. He gobbles good, flies down, and get a little more aggressive and hear him coming closer, and then here he comes, no decoys, and I'm sitting here and he's looking for me, and I'm really having to trust the real tree, and he's looking, and he can't understand why he don't see no hen, and he's looking for movement, and oh, is that a bobcat over there? What is that? And you know, he ain't sitting there thinking, is that somebody? He's just thinking, is there danger? Oh my God, is that Fred? He whooped me last night, and then he slowly gets in there and you kill him. The mystique of that is still the ultimate vibe for turkey hunting.
Yep.
However, that don't work all the time. So if he comes in that way and he ain't wanting to do right, and he's, you know, he tucks in wings and starts to walk off, I ain't afraid to show him, you know, Freddie Jr. that he knows he can whoop me, like, wait a minute, and he come running right in there, you know, a little beak meat. I like that.
Yeah.
So find your way, find what you like, and let it grow and enjoy and have fun. That's what I tell people the most. Enjoy hunting, have fun, and kind of don't, you don't have to swag, you don't have to have any swagger about it, don't have any macho man. Just enjoy it and have fun, because at the end of it, this is what it's fun about, man. We about to throw down on some major league ribeyes tonight, and some ribs, some good food. We're gonna tell some stories, some of which will be true, some.
That's true.
And it's just gonna be a good time. And so that's, to me, what hunting's about. And you know, and they're gonna win.
That's right.
A lot, and then you're gonna win some too. And,
yeah.
You know, but at the end of the day, they're still, if they were that smart, they would have built a house and been here eating steak and grilling too, but they're on a limb and still ain't figured out how to put no insect repellent on their neck, and the mosquitoes wearing them out too. So sometimes I'm not disrespectful, I'm just thinking, my mentality, I'm thinking, I gotta be able to trick this joker, because inevitably I feel like the good Lord made me smarter. He gave him instincts to survive, but I've got to be at the top of I got to figure out how to kill this turkey.
Right.
And so that's kind of how I dumb it down in my own mind, just for my mental attack, you know.
Yeah. Well, guys, it's been awesome coming down here. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I didn't expect to get my turkey in the first 30 minutes or 20 minutes of the hunt, which I'm very fortunate. And
don't air this before your wife sees it, because she's gonna be expecting your plane ticket.
Yeah,
get off the ribeyes and come home, boy. You can get back, clean that house, take trash to the road.
That's right. Thanks, Michael. Now
sorry.
she's taking notes when she's watching this.
We can edit that part,
yeah,
guys.
cut that part.
Yeah.
But no, it's been a lot of fun. Pat has been our host. Dee took us out this morning. They're great people. I mean, this is just a beautiful ranch that they have here. It's a cow-calf ranch. They've allowed us to come down and hunt. I know you've become really, really good friends with the family.
Yeah.
And you know all the kids, and that's what makes this special.
Oh yeah.
And that's what it energizes me about being a turkey hunter is going out and getting these experiences. Whether you're hunting on private land or public land, you get those experiences. And I've done both. Matter of fact, I've done more hunting on public land than private land. Mm-hmm. It's just it's different experiences, and like you said, you learn from those experiences. So, so Michael, thank you so much for helping us coordinate this and coming down here. This has just been awesome. I know we have another day left, and we're going to enjoy it and have a lot of fellowship and eat some great food. And Brad, thank you so much for this morning. And I just hearing you call, and it's funny, you would call, and then I'm like, wait a little bit, and then I'd mimic your call because I'm trying to get better. I've been hunting since I've been in high school, but I've not been very successful. And over the last 4 or 5 years, my buddy Steve down in El Dorado, which the first year you were at the governor's hunt, and I was with Steve. That was the first time I met Steve. He and I become tight as close as thieves, and we've just developed an awesome relationship. And so I've learned a ton from Steve over the last few years and been very successful. We have a favorite little spot that we go to every year, and we go hunt all these other spots, but if we still need to get a turkey, we go there because we know where we can get one. So it is a hunting hole. So, but this has been an awesome, great experience. Your buddy Eric, he's
what a hoot!
Oh goodness gracious, he's so
the best,
fun.
Man.
Yeah,
so fun.
and so the food has been terrific. The camaraderie has been fantastic, and the camera guys, it's just been awesome. I've had a lot of fun, and the next 3 weeks is just going to be an incredible journey for me. Whether I'm successful or not, it's going to be a learning experience, and I'm looking forward to it. And I hope that's entertaining and educating for the viewers out there. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us down here.
I just wanted to add one thing, Jared.
Yes, please do.
I want to thank you. Carlos sent word through me. He's over there listening to Leonard Skinner and getting ready to eat one of them ribeyes, and he just wanted to say he apologizes for shooting a bigger turkey, but being that he's an integral part of the Bushnell marketing team, that he thought his first turkey needed to be an iconic one.
Well,
he's very appreciative and he's very excited. And so, as behalf of Team Carlos, I just wanted to say we weren't trying to Tommy top anybody. We was just trying to have a good time and have a good, honest turkey hunt.
So that was intended because he helped me coordinate this thing. So we made sure that you got the two biggest ones.
Now
we kind of shoot them over there too, guys.
Carlos over there, he's on ProTurkeyHunter.com. He's on the front page right now, but he's over there right now getting that ribeye ready to eat. So
very good.
Carlos!
Any parting thoughts, comments before we cut this?
No, the only thing I would say is I think the hunt was special. There's no doubt about that. And anytime you harvest a bird and even a deer or anything in the outdoors is great, but the relationships will last much, much longer. So
that's right.
Enjoy your time in camp with people. Don't make it always about just the hunt.
That's right.
Get to know people. Being around you guys this week and Pat and his family, I mean, it truly feels like I've known them for forever.
That's right. I agree.
And I think that's really, really important for everybody to remember because that's part of the enjoyment.
Yep.
And you want to do things and you want to experience the outdoors with your friends and family.
I say that what Brad echoed that. The biggest thing I've seen, and I know people got this, a big, lonely, dusty trophy room with a lot of big animals and long beards with nobody to share it with means nothing to a man, and it don't show much about the man. You can have nothing on the wall and friendships you made hunting, and you got the ultimate trophy room. And so, yeah, you can't do nothing with them dusty racks. It don't matter if they're Boone and Crockett.
That's right.
But man, if you got a few of them and you got stories and you got friendships and you're talking about your families and sharing, little league games that your kids go through and just experiences in life, and something gets bad and folks are praying for you when it's tough. Or,
that's right.
That is it. And for me, all the stuff going on in society now and the division, hunting camp is the ultimate peacemaker, because it doesn't matter politics, it doesn't matter creed or race or anything. All that matters is we're all around the same campfire, and you laugh and you cut up,
having
rich, poor, skinny.
Right.
You don't matter.
I was bigger.
Yeah, Carlos. So that's it. Like look at Carlos. Carlos and we done become besties, man. I mean, he's got the world record Osceola right now pending. And so when you kill a giant turkey, you become friends.
It was a Tyrannosaurus Rex from what I saw.
It was, and then Eric was right there with him. So I don't know.
Eric wanted a piece of that action.
Carlos had a lot of pressure. He's representing Bushnell. He's got me right there, which
breathing down his neck.
So sometimes I get to be like this football coach. My wife calls me the turkey Nazi because I'm like, don't you screw this up. And then you got Eric right there, and so he whacks that turkey, and then Eric shoots off his shot. So hopefully the viewers get.
I can't wait to see that video.
It's a fun hunt. I mean, it was energetic and fun. So it was just, and then right in the middle of us celebrating, boom, you shoot. So it's just, I don't know, man. I like turkey hunting.
It was fortuitous, absolutely. So, Guys, thank you so much for being out here and everything you do. You know, Waddy, we've got to know each other the last 3 years. It's been awesome, and
Same
I've
here,
learned a
man.
lot. So thank you.
Thank you.
Same way, you know, you and I spent deer camp together the last couple years ago. So it's been fantastic. So viewers, stay tuned for next week to see exactly what we're going to do in Mississippi, and God willing, I will take a nice Eastern and we'll be on to step 3. So stay tuned.